Today, Nintendo has done the unforgivable. Nintendo has just confirmed that Princess Peach and Mario were just good friends who help each other out. Are you fucking kidding me? Mario and Princess Peach are good friends. You know, I can excuse all the corporate greed. I can excuse the anti-consumer practices. I can even excuse all the Nintendo fanboys who attack me anytime that I criticize their precious company like I'm blowing a Pavlovian dog whistle. I can excuse all that because at the end of the day, you're Nintendo. You've made some of the greatest games in existence. You have quite literally shaped the landscape of video games that we have today. But this is where I draw the line. How the fuck are you gonna make Princess Peach and Mario good friends when this guy has been risking his life to save her since 1985? 40 years. He's been doing this bullshit for 40 years. And you're telling me he gets friend-zoned for all of his troubles? Bro, mind you, Mario isn't just your average run-of-the-mill plumber. This motherfucker has gone into alternate realities, traveled the entire world, went to different planets, battled Bowser across the galaxy to not get with Princess Peach? What is this bullshit? What is this bullshit? I'm at a loss for words. My anger, my day has been absolutely ruined. You can't do this. Why can't you just let Mario have this? This is literally his only goal in life, by the way. Everything that he does, all of his actions, 99% of the time, are for saving Princess Peach. And you're telling me that she canonically friend-zones him after all this time? Yeah, bro. Fuck. It really does surprise me how many people are just undercover pedophiles, and I want to dedicate today's post to one of the worst takes that I've seen in my life. This genuinely might be bottom 3 takes in existence, and it's this post on Twitter. And it goes something along the lines of, oh, normies hate on anything that's unconventional. This is Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid drama all over again. And the post is basically saying that the design that you're seeing on screen is actually a very well-designed character, but the normies are like, yeah, this is the fucking worst design ever. Bro, that is a toddler with boobs. That's a baby. That's a fucking child. What is the amazing character design that's going on here? And what boggles my brain even more is not the fact that he backed down after getting a bunch of hate. He doubled down. He replies 2 times directly under that tweet on some, if you're gonna throw a little temper tantrum every time you see something on the internet you don't like, then you're a baby and you shouldn't be on the internet. Bro, you're the one advocating for this pedophilic ass character design. What the hell? The drawings for that post state that she is a half succubus. A succubus. Do you know what those are? Do you know what they have to do to survive? And you're calling this shit good character design? What the fuck is wrong with you? Bottom 3 takes on the internet. Take this dude's phone away and don't let him get anywhere near anyone below the age of... Just finished watching the Fantastic Four movie, and it was a pretty good watch. I'm not going to go into spoiler territory. All I'm going to say is, main takeaway, Silver Surfer is bad as shit, and I would absolutely let her crush my balls with the surfboard. Stay for the post-credit scene, bro. That first post-credit scene is fucking crazy. My theater damn near reenacted the chicken jockey scene in that same movie theater, bro. They were going absolutely buck wild, and it was a pretty good post-credit scene. Besides that, solid 7 out of 10. The oldest Anarchy server in Minecraft has a reputation for many things, one of which is the expansive lore actively maintained by the players. Shout out FitMC if y'all get the reference, but I want to talk about 2b2t. This, if you don't know what it is, it's a Minecraft server. It's a very, very old Minecraft server. As the name would suggest, it's the oldest Anarchy server in Minecraft. And the reason that this server is so special to me is because of the amount of expansive lore and story that this shit has. I mean, if you look at the 2b2t wiki, this shit has lore dating back to 2010. 15 years it's been going on, and people are still actively playing on this server to this day. What's even more funny is the way that motherfuckers describe the events that happened in 2b2t. I've seen less dramatic flair in serial killer documentaries than I have in the average 2b2t lore video. And I'm loving absolutely every single minute of those videos. I eat them up. It's some of my favorite things to watch while I'm eating food. FitMC, gotta be the greatest 2b2t YouTuber on the platform. The way that this dude tells his fucking stories, oh my goodness. I sincerely hope the server continues being fully operational. And I don't know how long Housemaster plans on keeping it alive, but it's not gonna die anytime soon. And for the meantime, I just wanted to make this post to dedicate my love for 2b2t. One day I'll play it. Not anytime soon though. The fucking queue is like 5. There is no worse feeling in the world than all of your friends liking the same bum-ass game and you having to force yourself to play it just because they're all playing it, even though you don't enjoy it. And for me, that game is Valorant. I absolutely despise this game. I don't have fun on it. I don't like the gameplay. I don't like the community. Maybe I have fun for the first 5 minutes. And after that, it feels like I'm playing a 9 to 5 where I have to clock in with my coworkers of teenage boys who are faking their voices to sound deeper. I don't want to play this. I don't want to. I don't want to. You know how I feel when I have to hop on Valorant just because all my friends are playing it? I feel like that one image of the anime girl on the hospital bed, but she has no limbs and she's blindfolded. That's literally me every time that I hop on Valorant. Like, the happiness just leaves my body. I'm in a state of utter and complete helplessness. Because, bro, like, how do people enjoy this? And I know that same logic applies to literally any video game. It's subjective, but you can't tell me that Valorant is not a blight on humanity, a stain on the human race, and the world would be better off if Valorant just didn't exist. Is that a crazy thing to say? I genuinely don't think that's a crazy thing to say. I feel like if we just collectively decided to get rid of Valorant, world peace would skyrocket. World hunger it would disappear. Cancer would probably be cured by now, but man, fuck. This image has been absolutely frying me for the past day. Teach myself everything about stocks and finances. Buy a business, thrive alone club every night. If you don't get the context behind it, it's just a post that a girl made. You know, plan A is to get married, go to school, have a normal job, and then plan B is to do what you just saw. And I can't help but feel a little bad for the girl because her entire account is just this. Like, her entire account is the fucking meme now. Every single one of her comments is just like, hello, hello, one business, please. Is this the business store? I'd like to buy $1 billion. You know, like I said, I feel bad, but at some point the jokes write themselves. What the fuck do you mean that you're gonna buy a business? I can't imagine how that's gonna go down. Like, who are you gonna talk to for that? You're gonna be like, hello, I would like one business, please. Did you teach yourself everything about stocks and finances first? Damn it, I forgot about that though. For now, the joke is in its infancy, so it's still pretty funny until one of two things happen. Either A, somebody calls it corny and then everybody just decides to start hating on it for no reason, or B, people take the joke too far. One of those two things is going to happen sooner rather than later, and I will be very sad when that happens, because for now, it is a pretty funny joke. One of the corniest things a person can ever do is to steal pictures off of Google or Pinterest and pretend that it's theirs. That's gotta be top 3 most embarrassing things to ever get caught doing, and I don't get why anyone does it. You're telling me your life is that boring and monotonous that you have to resort to LARPing as someone online, or like pretending you have this thing on the internet so you can feel better about yourself and lie to people? I saw this one TikTok of this white guy who was like, I told her I fight. Oh, she said, you do boxing? Hashtag holy airball, I actually do MMA. And then the next slide is a picture of, like, a really high quality picture of 2 guys MMA boxing. It's like a white dude against another dude. This motherfucker was role playing as the white guy. One single reverse image search is all it took to realize that this motherfucker was lying. He doesn't do MMA. He hasn't punched a day in his life. This also happened to one of my homeboys in middle school, and I will never forget it. I had this homeboy who we're gonna call Jeffrey. Now, Jeffrey was in this Instagram group chat with me and our entire middle school friend group, and we were talking about the PS5 in the group chat. And I want you to keep this in mind. The PS5 back then, like back in 7th or 6th grade, I don't even know how long ago it was. It was super duper long ago. The PS5 was mythic rarity. This shit was a golden scar. This shit didn't even exist yet. It was rumored to exist. Jeffrey tells the entire group chat, guys, I just got the new Spider-Man PS5, and he sends us a picture of a Spider-Man PS5, brand new, fucking mint condition, fresh out the box. And what does one of my homeboys do? He grabs that image, reverse image searches it, and replies back to his message, yo, ain't this your Spider-Man PS5? And it's a fucking image straight off of Walmart. The Walmart website where they showcase their shit, it was just that. So I think the PS5 did exist back then, but like, bro, that is so embarrassing. Oh my god, this dude tried to fucking lie to us that he had a Spider-Man PS5 when this dude didn't even have a PS5. Good rage bait is a long lost art form because nowadays people just say stupid things, and when they get called out for being dumb, they say it's rage bait. So it's like Schrodinger's rage bait, to be or not to be. You really can't win with those people. But you know who's the best at rage baiting and will never ever be topped? Moms. And don't get me wrong, I love my mother, most important woman in my life, but oh my days. I don't know if she does it intentionally or if she trained like some secret school of monks to learn how to rage bait her children the best, but oh my. And it'll be for no reason too, like unprompted. I'm about to go out the house because I need to run an errand. Before I even step foot out the door, she's on some, oh yeah, your pants are too big. That shirt, I don't like your shirt. Your shoes, don't like your shoes. When you come back, I need you to wash the dishes, take out the trash, and scrub every single inch of the house with your tongue. And if you don't do that, then you're a bum. And it just keeps going and going and going and going. I don't know where she finds the wordplay to string together so many words that mean absolutely nothing. All you had to tell me was, hey, when you come back, I need you to do this. Or, you didn't like what I was wearing? Could you change that? And I would have done it fucking in a heartbeat. But no, you have to hit me with a 12-piece verbal combo and absolutely fry my shit. And what can I do in response? Absolutely nothing. All I can do is say, yep, yes, okay. But then after like my 30th okay, and she's still frying my shit, it's like, bro, come on, bro, please. And my mom is Hispanic, so God forbid that I respond to her in half a decibel louder than she usually likes. Oh my god, she's gonna put me on a stick with an apple in my mouth and roast me like a Christmas pig.
The guy who's leaving negative comments on your videos used to get raped by his uncle.
What the fuck are we talking about? What do you mean they used to get raped by their uncles? Hello? Like, we completely lost the plot here. What the fuck are we talking about? Like, genuinely, some people should not be allowed to have access to a microphone. We are saying shit just to say shit. What do you mean people that leave hate comments on your videos used to get... I don't even know if I can repeat. I feel like he's trying to give the right message with the absolute worst delivery possible. Because at its core, he's trying to tell you that you shouldn't let negative comments discourage you from being who you want to be and making content and being yourself. Sure, you know, when you make content on the internet, you need to have the courage to be disliked. I agree. But whenever somebody leaves a hate comment, right, maybe on my video, and I read it and I'm like, you know, that's unfortunate. Do I ever think to myself, yeah, their uncle definitely spread them? No. What is this Hamza guy even about? Because if I remember correctly, wasn't he really into like personal wellness and fitness, and he would like give tips on how to do that? Or am I thinking of someone else? I could have sworn that's what he used to do. And I don't know what type of content we're shifting to now, but we might need to do a 360 and go right back to what we were doing before. Because I don't know, bro, these hooks are not. One of my favorite subgenres of creators on this app are the people who just react to funk music, like grown men who listen to whatever funk song is trending and they just play it super bass boosted in the background. They're just like, oh, like they start fucking overreacting, convulsing, freaking out like little Phoebe's under the table. I fucking love those guys. I live to watch those videos, bro. That's my baby sensory videos. You know how the little kids have to watch those little fruits dance in circles with music playing in the background? That's what I need to do. Except it's with like grown men listening to funk. I don't know. There's just something so special about watching these guys who are quadruple the age of their audience pretending to enjoy funk music, because I know they don't fucking like it. I promise you they don't. You know, I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but funk music is not something that you'd listen to regularly, right? Like, when you think of a song, and you think of a good song that you can regularly play when you're driving, going to the gym, doing homework, or just to have miscellaneous background music, not once does funk come into your head. Why? Because it's a type of music that really only sounds good in edits, in small bite-sized formats, right? But to sit down and listen to an entire funk song from start to finish, you're not fucking doing that, bro. You're not a real person if you do. I have a homeboy who unironically likes funk. He's like, yeah, bro. Like, we're in the car, right? He's in the passenger seat. I'm driving. I fucking let him choose the music, right? I'm like, hey, you can choose the next song. And he tries to put on fucking Mango Funk bass boosted remix. Motherfucker, get the fuck out of my car, bro. What the? Why are you criticizing a 15-year-old girl for wearing provocative clothing? The manga's made for teenagers. You're just not the target audience. It doesn't mean that it's wrong. I had a lot of people try to give me that line of reasoning when I was criticizing Pop Step's character design, and I said that maybe a 15-year-old shouldn't walk around with a skirt that shows half of her ass. Maybe that's not the right thing to do. People were telling me that the show, the target audience for it is teenage boys, which means this is perfectly fine and I shouldn't care because I'm not the target audience. And usually when I make a post, I just like to let it marinate. I don't like making a part 2 or reply to anything because, you know, when you make takes on the internet, people will agree, people will disagree, and we go on with our day. That's just how it is. But trying to justify her character design with that argument is so moronic and stupid that I couldn't not make a video about it. Target audience is not a free pass to include anything you want, and saying, oh, well, teenagers like other teenagers, so dressing them up like this is fine is an excuse for lazy writing. And I'm not here to be the horny police and get in between you and your anime body pillows of suspiciously young girls that are actually 3,000 years old, but I will say this. Sexualizing a character that is a minor is no longer fan service. No, we've crossed that realm already. That is exploitation. And saying that it's fine because the target audience is teenagers and not adults sets a very, very dangerous precedent that I don't think you want to do. Using the "it's made for teenagers" argument is completely stupid because in this case you are excusing the objectification of children under the guise of entertainment, and writers should be held to a higher standard than that. Target audience doesn't excuse degeneracy, and it never will. And I'll end it off with this. There's nothing wrong with a character being hot or attractive, but can you at least make them adults? Is that too much to ask? Can you just make them 18? Is that a high task for some of the writers over there at Japan? Shit, it just might be. I don't want it to come off like I'm some moral Puritan that thinks we need to go back to the 1700s where a woman couldn't show her ankles or she'd get hung in front of the entire town. It's not like that. But I also think, just maybe, 15-year-olds shouldn't be sexualized. Ooh, is that a hot take, guys? That might be a real hot take, huh? And I know historically, Japan has always been on some freak shit. Hell, the age of consent was 13 for a pretty long time until they bumped it up to 16. And I don't know if it's still 16 now or if it's something higher. But, you know, I definitely know, culturally, why some of these discrepancies with age and design show up in the mangas. I know why. I'm not blind to that fact. Does that make it okay? Probably not. Probably not. And I think that's it for me. The way Jordan Peterson debates fucking pisses me off to no end because he's not even debating. Calling it a debate is generous. He's basically just acting like a toddler and only responding to things that are convenient for him. You can ask him the simplest question in the world and he'll start asking you to define its meaning down to the exact millisecond that it was conceived. You can literally ask him, is the sky blue? Well, define sky. Are you willing to die because you believe the sky is blue? Now, what if I told you that I like watching goth femboys with big jiggly booty cheeks twerking in my backyard? I'm willing to die for that. Are you? Don't play Hume with me. You're playing games now. Bro, shut the fuck up. I absolutely despise him. Oh my god. And I used to think this guy was really smart. I looked up to him intellectually because I liked his takes and I liked the way that he would articulate his words and defend his arguments and his beliefs. But I don't know what the fuck has gotten into him lately, where he just turned into like a senile old man. 99% of the time he's going to be asking you to define what the word "the" means in the context of this situation so he can better understand how to articulate his response. Like, motherfucker, just pack it up, bro. I don't know if it's either the greatest rage baiter of all time or if the age is genuinely getting to him, because every single time he debates now, it is so insufferable to watch. If you genuinely think that you couldn't take a dog in a fight one-on-one to the death, you might just be a bitch. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, what if I have a physical disability? What if I'm in a wheelchair? Well, in this hypothetical scenario, it is a fair fight. So if you're in a wheelchair, the dog is in a wheelchair. Boom, bumper cars. Oh, you're blind? The dog is blind too. Boom, echolocation. Like, there's no scenario where this fight is going to be unfair. It's going to be a fair one-on-one between you and the dog. There's no advantages or disadvantages to anyone. It's just what you're equipped with and what the dog is equipped with. Oh, but Julio, what if you have to fight a Max Prestige Bull Terrier or a Cane Corso? What then, huh? What are you going to do? I'm going to do the exact same thing I would have done if it was any other dog breed. I'm going to survive. This debate is not about whether or not you would walk out of that interaction unscathed. It's about whether you're going to live or not. You know, your life is on the line. Are you going to survive or are you going to turn into dog food? And the answer is you're going to survive. Yes, I know these dog breeds are very strong and very capable and they could very easily just bite my throat. It's over. But here's the thing. You got to keep in mind, dogs don't really have as much battle IQ as a human. And as a dog, your fighting options are literally limited to one thing: biting. What are you going to do? Karate chop me, kick me? You don't even have fucking thumbs. Genuinely, what are you going to do? I have a lot more tools at my disposal because I'm smarter than you. I have more fingers than you. I have more battle IQ than you. So as a dog, there's only so many things that you can do. I am 100% certain that if push comes to shove, I could take any dog breed in any condition in a one-on-one fight to the death and come out alive. Like, especially if you give me prep time. Oh my god, don't give me prep time. I'm gonna be setting up traps like Home Alone, so as soon as that dog walks into the arena, I'm gonna set off a trap that shoots a tranquilizer dart straight into his nuts and it's over. A lot of people on the internet will give you the advice to shoot your shot. The worst you can say is no, rejection is temporary, but regret is forever. And while those all do ring somewhat true, I'm here to tell you, do not do that shit. Yes, I get it, we only live once, life is temporary, yada yada, but you know what also lasts forever? Embarrassment. I have this homeboy who we're gonna call Jermaine for this story, and what he did today is going down in history as the worst shots ever taken. We're sitting in study lab and we don't have anything to do. I'm sitting right in front of one of my friends, and Jermaine pulls up, right? As usual, we start talking, we start chilling, and to get his confidence up, the first thing he does is go up to this random Asian kid and ask them if they're a boy or a girl. And the reason I'm calling them a kid is because I don't know their exact age, but they looked extremely young, and I don't know, they had a very androgynous look, so I wasn't really sure what to gender them, so I just didn't. I just referred to them as them, and I told my homeboy, hey, don't fucking say that to them. What did he do? He walked over there, he said, oh, excuse me, are you a boy or a girl? The poor Asian kid is just staring at him like this. Like, not a word was said. It was the most awkward interaction that I've ever had to witness. Like, it was horrible. But that's not even the climax of the story. After that, this girl who's sitting behind Jermaine is a senior girl from our grade. And what does Jermaine do in front of the whole class? He asked her, will you go to prom with me? What the fuck are we doing? And I tried to stop him before he could do anything more stupid, because he asked her out not once, but twice after she said no. And although I love Jermaine, this dude is a 45 overall with no badges. We do not take these shots. Keep in mind, this girl allegedly has 7 boyfriends and brags about her conquest like she's Alexander the Great. So even if Jermaine really did manage to bag that, what the fuck did you think was gonna happen, bro? This is the worst idea of all time. I guess the moral of the story is, if you really are gonna shoot your shot, at least have the decency to do it in private and not around all of your friends who are sitting with you, and then everyone in the fucking classroom starts laughing at you guys collectively because you're sitting together. Yeah, maybe not the smartest. Biting the hand that feeds you, in a figurative sense, is when someone disrespects or betrays the very same group of people that support them and provide them with some sort of stability. And the best current day example that I can think of is the $19 Fortnite card guy, Mr. Block You, or Fate 420, whatever you want to call him. He goes by multiple names on the internet, but we all remember the $19 Fortnite card. Who wants it? Remember, share, share, share. Yeah, when that dude blew up, and he was a meme for a pretty long time, he was a pretty big meme too. He garnered a fuck ton of followers just from that one meme alone. Yeah, present day, Mr. Block You absolutely hates his fucking fans. He's like the Nintendo of TikTok content creators. He just doesn't want anything to do with them. This dude will block you for joining his lives. He'll block you for commenting. He'll block you for asking a question. He'll block you for telling him to have a good day. Like, this dude just wants to block you. You know, his name is Mr. Block You for a reason. Rest assured, you and your entire lineage will be blocked on this app if you even think about interacting with him. And if you go to his lives, he's either quiet or he's beefing with some random teenager that commented on his live, talking about some, oh, you have to raise your hand to go to the bathroom. Man, you're a teenager, man. Shut the fuck up. Which is ironic that he's making fun of people for being immature when he blew up using the word sussy baka, Among Us-ly, and $19 Fortnite card. Like, this guy's pretty in touch with his inner child, at least from the way that he acts, so I don't know why he'd be hating on the very same people that support him. I will say, to his credit, he does seem to have a lot of stuff going on in his life. He recently got surgery on his hand, they had to stitch it up, and he's also been job hunting for a part-time job, and I don't know if I'm reading into it correctly, but he's quit multiple jobs before because people on TikTok have found out where he works. At least that's what I'm getting from the things that he insinuates in his videos. So, you know, I can have some sympathy for the guy, but at the same time, this dude just absolutely hates anyone that supports him to a comedic degree, which is really unfortunate because he didn't capitalize on the meme like I think he could have. And had he played his cards right, he could have secured himself a pretty nice side hustle purely from being himself on the internet. And the guy is funny, he's charismatic, he's witty, he's a unique person. But you know what he also is? Fucking insufferable. He hates anyone that interacts with them, and his very same fans are ostracized away from him because he makes it very clear that he has a strong distaste for anyone that supports him. I guess the best way that I could describe it is that this guy is the perfect rage bait target, because every single time someone goes on his live or comments about anything, it could be positive, it could be negative, it could be neutral, it could be a neutral statement. They'll be like, hey, you have 100 followers. He'll proceed to reply to that comment, say, blocked, you're a bitch, and Among Us-ly, fuck you. And like, I don't know, bro. I can only feel so bad for him until I remember he's like a grown man with multiple kids, been through a divorce. Like, I feel like at this point you should know just a little bit better than to take the words of people on the internet to heart, because it really seems like he does, you know. And I hope he does better for himself. I hope his hand recovers and stuff, but man, he really should just stop shitting on his fans, and I promise you can make a lot more money off of TikTok. If there's anything that the internet has taught me, is that if it exists, there is porn of it. And I challenge you to name me a single body part or piece of media that has yet to be sexualized in a very bad way. Yeah, you fucking can't. But you know what? Amidst all of the degeneracy that goes on online, one thing that I can definitely salute the creators of that Rule 34 website for is adding a little trigger to switch on and off if you want to see AI generated content. Now, I did not find this out myself, you know, I've never done anything like this before, but my sources, and literally everybody on the fucking internet will tell you that they did add a little option to not view AI generated content. And I can honestly commend them for that, because it's the ethical thing to do. It's the right thing to do. And any loser that claims to be an artist when all they do is tell a fucking AI a prompt that they want them to turn into a drawing is delusional and is lying to themselves. I'm not gonna sit here and explain to you why AI art is bad for the creative thought process and the art community as a whole, because number one, I'm not a part of the art community, and number two, I'm gonna assume you have common sense. But I will say this, out of all the websites to start implementing anti-AI features and things of that nature, I'm surprised the porn website was one of the first to do it. But hey, props to them. They are truly ethical gooners. Everybody that uses Telegram needs to get put on a fucking watch list, because I promise you the average Telegram user is not normal. You can't tell me that the average law-abiding citizen wakes up with a smile on their face and thinks to themselves, let me go check what Telegram's doing. No, the people that are on Telegram are a different breed. I've heard some of the horror stories that go down inside of Telegram, and the synopsis that I could gather from every single one of them is Telegram is where illegal things happen. If you are communicating something that you probably shouldn't do, whether that's morally or legally, it's gonna happen on Telegram. Every single time, 10 out of 10 times. I think those motherfuckers just don't care what you do on there. They don't monitor the site, or the website, the app. They don't monitor that shit. They just let you do it. I had a homeboy who had access to AP exams days before they came out. I'm not talking like rough hints or anything. No, the entire fucking exam. And he had that in a Telegram group chat. And anytime that someone tells me anything about Telegram, or God forbid someone asks me, what's your Telegram, or download Telegram? Bro, I know what you are. You're either doing something illegal, or you're a fucking criminal. Actually, it's both, bro. There's no... What could possibly be so important and imperative that you need to use Telegram to communicate it? You couldn't use any other app for communication. It just had to be Telegram. Come on, bro. Now, maybe I'm not in the know. Maybe there's something they know that I don't. I could be completely wrong. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. But anybody that uses Telegram is definitely not doing it for a good reason. The Croods resurging in popularity makes me one of the happiest people in the world, because I don't think we give this movie enough credit for how fucking good it was. For me, it's one of the best things that DreamWorks has ever put out, mainly because it achieves that perfect balance of delivering a heartfelt message that isn't just overly in your face and annoying and corny, and having engaging humor. Like, I think every single joke in The Croods lands, and there's never a dull moment in that movie. The themes of the show are pretty basic, so I don't think there's too much to dive into here. Grug is the patriarch head of the household who wants to protect his family at all costs, and instills the fear of God into them, because if they try anything new, they will die. And Eep, the teenage daughter, embodies curiosity, rebellion, individuality, wanting to explore outside of what her father will let her. And the rest of the family is just fucking such goated supporting characters, bro. And amidst everything, the family all unites together because they love each other. The typical children's movie message. But I think their strongest aspect of the entire movie is their comedy. Grug's multiple failed inventions, like the shades, the portable cave, and the picture, are twice as funny when you realize how they tie into his character of him being stubborn, and how he refuses to accept Guy's teachings because he doesn't like anything new. And when he finds out that his daughter only wants new things, he tries to do it himself, and he fails miserably. Another really funny character dynamic is how Grug constantly wishes that his mother-in-law was dead, and it seems like she's immortal, so that's part of the gag for the character. Every single time that they get into a death-defying situation, and like Grug has a big fat smile on his face because he thinks she's dead, she just comes back up out of nowhere, and like, bro, I fucking love the Croods. Now, the Croods 1, goated. The Croods 2, when they like met Guy's family and all that, you know, the sequels are usually never as good as the OG, but Croods 1, that shit has a special place in my heart. Get ready with me to hang out with fine shit. The internet is such a cruel, cruel place, and watching that video only made me realize one thing, and that is that the internet has most definitely gotten meaner and more toxic and hateful over the years, because I could have sworn it wasn't always like this. I'll preface the video by saying this: her video was definitely cringy and corny, which is why a lot of people weren't happy with it, and it got as much hate as it did, but you also can't help but feel bad for her after she got absolutely shit on for just having some unconventional features. But I'm not really trying to make this video to dive into that. I more so want to talk about how I've noticed that the internet has just become a more toxic and hateful environment over the years, because I've spent a pretty long time on the internet. I don't know how many years I've been fucking watching YouTube videos since I was fucking 5 years old, 5, 6 years old. So I've been on the internet for a while. And I could have sworn that back then, right back when I was in my younger adolescent stages, the internet just wasn't this evil or rude or hateful or spiteful to one another. And my main theory as to why that is the erosion of empathy. When people constantly scroll through so much content and look at so much faces and hear so many stories, eventually you become numb to any sort of emotion that anything on the internet could invoke. So what does this lead to? It leads to people just feeling extremely comfortable being absolute dickheads to one another, and that's just the normalized behavior on the internet. I'll also end the video off by saying this: I am not trying to claim any sort of moral superiority or moral high ground here by making this video to say, oh, you should be kind to everyone and treat everyone with respect and never make fun of anyone, because even I don't do that. I'd be a hypocrite if I was trying to preach that message. But I believe in making fun of people who deserve it. Right? I've made plenty of videos making fun of people who I believe deserve it. For example, James Charles, that dude's a pedophile. I don't feel bad about making fun of him. What's her name? Ray slash Thick and Pretty. I remember I made like a skit making fun of her. I don't feel bad about that. She's a fucking bad person. Or what's very, very recent one, Jordan Peterson? Yeah, he's just insufferable to listen to while debating. If you watch that fucking Jubilee video, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. And all these dudes in my comment section talking about oh, you don't know what the Socratic method is. Well, bro just doesn't like free speech. You are not the sharpest tool in the shed. You completely missed the mark on what I was saying. That is not even the Socratic method, right? Compare the Socratic method to what this motherfucker is doing and try to tell me that they're the same. But I think that's it for me. That's all. There was a video that got pretty popular, and it was titled 100 Hispanics versus not saying the N-word, which is supposed to highlight how a lot of Hispanic people say a word that isn't really theirs to say. And the responses to that video in the comments, specifically from other Hispanic people, were a little bit disappointing. And since I myself am Hispanic, even though I don't go out much, so my skin's a little bit lighter, I thought I'd give my take on the situation. And I'll preface this by saying, if you are Hispanic, I hate to hit you with the cold water, slap you with the used condom. You can't say the N-word. I know that might come as a little bit of a unhappy surprise to some, but I'll explain. One argument that I see go around a lot is that Hispanic people were discriminated against, similar to black people, ergo we should be allowed to say it. And although that statement does ring somewhat true, it's a bit disingenuous to the entire broader picture. And I'll explain why. Yes, it is a given. Both Hispanic Americans and black Americans faced pretty similar forms of oppression in the form of colonial violence, immigration-based discrimination, exploitation, the list goes on, but you can draw a lot of similarities. One very key thing to keep in mind though, shared struggles, different history. We might have similar struggles, we have very different histories. The N-word has lineage rooted back to the transatlantic slave trade and the many, many years of dehumanization that followed after that. That word represents a history of lynching, violence, slavery, segregation, bad things. And to say that Hispanic people shared that exact same history with black people is inaccurate. The responses to that video specifically, at least from other Hispanic people, really did shed a light on the more deeper rooted racism within the Hispanic community. And although that's definitely not a good thing, it is the truth. Like, that's just the fact of the matter. And I think that's all I have to say. If using a bidet makes you gay, then I am the biggest raging homosexual on planet Earth. People find out you use a bidet, now all of a sudden you're fruity. Now all of a sudden you're weird. They're acting like I told them that I shoved 12-inch dragon dildos bejeweled with rhinestones up my ass for funsies. Bro, it's a bidet. Like, this is basic hygiene. And I've had this conversation many times. I've gone down this road many, many times. All roads lead back to the bidet. It is just a superior method of cleaning your ass. You go from noob to pro to hacker. Noob is using normal, regular, schmegular toilet paper that feels like sandpaper rubbing against your asshole. Yeah, it doesn't feel good, and it doesn't really clean that well either. Then you go to pro, now you start using baby wipes. Now we're getting there. You know, they have some moisture, they do a better job at cleaning you, they feel a lot better than normal toilet paper, but you still feel like you could be a little more efficient with what you're doing. You reach hacker. Oh, you use your first bidet, deadass, bro, a whole new world. It's like Aladdin is taking me on a magic carpet, but except the carpet is water going up my asshole. Bro, it is just, it's perfect.
Oh, but he who cleans expects visitors. So what are you trying to tell me, huh? You want to get fucked in the ass?
God forbid a man practices basic human hygiene. What if I just like being clean? What if I like feeling clean, huh? How about them apples? And let's say, in this hypothetical scenario, I was expecting visitors. What if I was getting pegged by Malgosha from the Minecraft movie? What then, huh? What the fuck are you gonna do about it? It's my life, not yours. Character design is one of the most powerful tools for storytelling a writer has in their arsenal because character design can communicate someone's personality, their purpose, their life story. Before a single line of dialogue is said, you can tell a lot from a character that's designed well. Some good examples of well-executed character design could be Mizu from Blue Eye Samurai. Mizu's design is perfect because it reflects her identity as an outsider, blending her signature blue eyes and androgynous appearance with very stealthy, low-key clothing that warriors would wear at the time. Every single piece of her outfit resonates with the show's themes of vengeance and defiance. Another great example would be Jotaro from the JoJo series. His design symbolizes his rebellious nature and his very strong sense of individualism, which comes from his legacy as a Joestar, and his entire design is just fucking chef's kiss. But among all the types of character designs, one stands alone for a very unique purpose, and those are Gunner character designs. Designs for a character that are hypersexualized for the sake of being eye candy. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that Gunner character designs need to be eradicated off the face of the earth, because that's never gonna happen. There's a very good reason why those designs are so heavily employed to this day, because they work and they get people to click on whatever game or buy whatever shits they're selling. So obviously it's never gonna stop. But I will tell you, when you make a character's appeal their sex appeal instead of their actual depth as a character, not only does it weaken that character, it weakens the entire series the character is tied to. Here's a real hot take. Genshin Impact is a Gunner game, and so are 90% of anime gacha games. Though many of the characters in that game are reduced to walking, talking tropes wearing high heels and skin-tight latex. And you give these characters intricate backstories and connections to the in-game world, and for what? To reduce them to dopamine-bait characters, stuck in a perpetual cycle of sex appeal in order to make you more money. Here's an example of a Gunner character design which I don't find to be as egregious as Genshin, and I'll explain why. Juliet from Lollipop Chainsaw. Juliet checks every single box for a Gunner character design, but the reason that it works in her case is because Lollipop Chainsaw knows what type of game it wants to be, and it has that identity very clear. The reason Juliet works is because her aesthetic matches the tone of the game she's in. Lollipop Chainsaw does not set out to be this super serious, intense, lore-filled game. It knows that it's a wacky and ridiculous hack-and-slash zombie game with a high schooler who has her boyfriend attached to her hip, running around beating up zombies with a chainsaw. Her design is part of the larger cohesive theme of the game, which is why it works. Gunner character designs are here to stay and they're never gonna go away, but there's a very clear ethical difference when a game like Genshin does it, which is advertised for ages 12 and up, as to when a game like Lollipop Chainsaw does it, which is rated M for mature. And I think that's all I have to say. Xbox Addictions might be the greatest rage baiter on planet Earth, and I am so heartbroken that he stopped making videos because his shit was genuinely so funny. And what's even better is that this guy was the perfect example of what real rage bait looks like. It's just simple, harmless trolling that isn't really harming anyone, and it's providing entertainment to other people. Nowadays, rage bait just turned into people being insufferable and stupid, and then calling it rage bait because no one laughs at their unfunny jokes. But back then, right, back in the 2010s, when Xbox Addictions was popping, making trolling videos on Minecraft, Black Ops 3, Fortnite, oh my god, that shit was the golden age of YouTube. This dude had little kids screaming. Pause. I don't know how he managed to get these reactions out of them. He would genuinely, like, all he would do is either be better than them at video games or be stupid. That's all he would do. Or he would, like, troll. Like, they'd be building a house, he'd blow the house up, and then the little kid would be screaming at the top of his lungs like he just murdered his entire family. It was so fucking hilarious.
And the best part is, it was harmless. I know a lot of people are gonna try and sit here and say, oh, he was actually trolling little kids, and he was hurting their feelings. Man, shut the fuck up. If you saw what rage bait now looks like, Xbox Addictions looks like a fucking angel in comparison to what modern rage bait has turned into. And you know why? Like, he stopped making videos? It was because YouTube got on his ass for trolling. Like, he just got penalties and banned for his content because it was deemed as bullying and trolling and harmful. That is the biggest bullshit that I've ever heard, because if you see the type of content that YouTube lets on their platform now, Xbox Addictions was deadass breaking 0 rules. He was a genuinely funny content creator, and I'm so sad that he's gone and he's not making videos anymore. I fucking loved his content, and in terms of rage baiters, he is in the Hall of Fame. He might be the LeBron James of rage bait.
We are not cracking Jelly Bean. What the fuck is wrong with y'all? I remember the entire internet was hating on them a couple years ago when they first started making content, and I don't think they did anything wrong. They were just being themselves. And now it's these exact same people in comment sections on some, yeah, we're cracking Jelly Bean. How did we get here? Right? I know there's a fine line between hate and love, but Jesus, I didn't think it was that fine. If you search up the hashtag I hate my boyfriend, you'll see a bunch of videos of girls who genuinely despise the man that they're dating and wish that they would just break up already. I promise you not a single one of those girls is about that life, because the girl that I met a couple weeks ago is the I hate my boyfriend final boss. I'm convinced she wants that man dead. And a couple weeks ago, it all started a couple weeks ago. My mom was having some guests over at the house, and these were the type of guests that I had to sit there, pretend to like to talk to them for 4 hours, laugh at their jokes the entire time that they were there, and I didn't have the social battery to do that today. So I did the sensible thing. I left the house. I told my mom, hey, I'm gonna go drive around. She's like, oh, all right. And I'm chilling. I'm driving. I don't really know where I'm going. I don't know if I'm gonna go eat or if I'm gonna go fucking sit in a park and just like vegetate. I don't know. But I'm already near the library. I see that it's at the next stoplight. So I'm thinking to myself, you know what? It's quiet. It's got comfortable chairs. It's free. And I can probably just use my phone. So I go in there and I sit in a very secluded, far off corner. The library was a lot fuller that day than usual. Like, I don't know if there was an event or something, but it had a good amount of people, way more than you'd usually expect a library to have. And I was just reading like whatever Captain Underpants book I could find. And then I got bored and started playing Brawl Stars. So I'm sitting in the secluded corner and I'm on my phone and I have like a stack of Captain Underpants books next to me. And this one girl, she sits adjacent to me. And after a while, she asked me, oh, do you like Captain Underpants? And bro, that shit is my jam. So I was like, oh, fuck yeah, dude. I've read every one of the books, blah, blah, blah. And I started making conversation with her. Eventually, we got onto the topic of relationships. And she tells me, oh yeah, I have a boyfriend that I have been dating for like almost 5 years. And I'm like, oh shit, dude, good for you. And then later on, she talks about how she's excited because today she's gonna go hook up with someone. And now I'm a little bit confused because, you know, didn't she have a boyfriend? So why would you be hooking up with another guy when you already have a boyfriend? And I told her, whoa, but don't you have a boyfriend? What do you mean you're hooking up with someone? She tells me, oh yeah, my boyfriend is a cuck. And he gets off to the fact that I fuck other dudes and cheat on him and do whatever I want. And he's fine with it. And, you know, that's how our relationship works. What the fuck are you talking about? You know, it's like, in my mind, I was thinking about that meme where it's like, don't be filming me, brother. You actual rapist, homo thug, blackballs over there. What the hell are you talking about? Yeah, that's what my mind was going through. I was genuinely shell-shocked. I was at a loss for words. When she told me that, I was like I was malfunctioning. Your boyfriend is a cuck, and he enjoys the fact that you cheat on him, and that's how your relationship works. And I had so many questions, but the first thing that I asked her was like, oh, wow, 4 years, and he's a cuck, so that's your future husband, right? Like, you guys are locked in, because 4 years, mind you, she was my age. She said that she was 18. You know, I thought she was older, but she said she was my age. So I'm thinking, 4 years at this age is a huge accomplishment. Most relationships among teenagers last like, what, maybe 6 months at most? So 4 years is a very, very long commitment. I asked her, oh, so that's your future husband, right? She fucking looks at me like I just told her the greatest joke in the world and starts laughing. And she says, no. Then what the fuck are you dating him for? What, 4 years? About to be 5. You're constantly cheating on him, and you don't even see this guy being your future husband. I get that not everyone is dating to marry, but if you're gonna be with someone for that long, I'd at least think that you have a little bit of hope that somewhere down the line you might be able to settle down with them. But no, not only does this girl just constantly cheat on her boyfriend gets off to that. He's happy that his girlfriend is just getting fucked by a random dude every single week, and she tells me, yeah, my boyfriend is comfortable with me sending nudes, being in talking stages, doing hookups. You know, we just have a very open relationship. Open relationship? And something that I really wanted to ask her, but I didn't get the chance to, is does this apply both ways? Can the guy go fuck any girl that he wants and still be in a completely open relationship? I'm assuming so, right? But, you know, I didn't get to ask that. I was stupid, and I didn't really get to ask the important questions. I was literally just telling her, oh my god, that's crazy. Man, what the fuck, that is crazy. I couldn't think of anything to say, because you gotta keep in mind, that's a pretty shocking thing to hear if someone tells you that in person. And, you know, I really think she is the I hate my boyfriend final boss. Not only does she not, like, really see a future with this guy, she's just fucking cheating on him constantly, like proudly announcing it too. The way that she told me it, you would think that she discovered a cure for cancer. She had a big fat smile on her face as she was telling me, yeah, my boyfriend is a cuck, and I cheat on him all the time, and he gets off to it with like the biggest fucking grin on her face. And I don't know, man, I just can't get behind cuck relationships. You know, call me old-fashioned. I believe in monogamy a little bit more than I believe in polyamory, but to each their own. And if they've been together this long and I'm still single, then fuck, maybe they're doing something right that I don't know. But that's my story. Dale Wilson, or low tier god, whatever you want to call him, went from being one of the most popular fighting game content creators to damn near a lolcow. I would argue that he's currently a lolcow at this point. And the downfall of his character and his persona online is a pretty funny one, because I don't think it happened for any specific reason besides people finding out who he really is. And he's just a bum. I guess that's sort of a harsh way to put it, but the fact of the matter is he's a deadbeat dad who was making pretty good money off of social media, yet is in a lot of debt. And, you know, to top it all off, the real cherry on top is that he refuses to acknowledge any of these things, and when people confront him about it in his chats, he'll just resort to the same behavior he's been doing for years, telling them to off themselves or insulting them. And it makes sense, right? That's who he is on the internet. He's probably never going to change. But the downfall of his public perception is a real interesting one, because I think it serves as a cautionary tale as to how you shouldn't build your brand on the internet. If you base it off of just being a very negative asshole for years and years, the same community that used to laugh at your jokes are eventually going to get tired of you. I mean, he's most well known for his "you should kill yourself now" speech. That is the "you should kill yourself now" guy, and that's what a lot of people know him as. And I think that speaks volumes as to who he is, at least on the internet. Offline, when the cameras are off, it's hard to say if he's much of a better person, since he's like 40, doesn't really take care of his daughter from what we can tell, and made some pretty bad financial decisions. But I mean, it is what it is. That is the downfall of Dale.
Money can't unlame you is one of my favorite sayings ever, because it's one of those rare cases where an internet saying is not only true, but it packs on a lot more of a deeper meaning than it lets on. Because yes, it's absolutely correct. No amount of money will make you a more charismatic person. There won't be an amount of zeros in your bank account that will make you more of an enjoyable person to be around. And I think a great example of this is the guy who recently posted on TikTok like 2 days ago of him flexing 20K at his graduation, right? He just graduated, and after the ceremony's over, he's taking videos of himself flexing the 20K, doing all types of money spreads. But if you notice, his eyes and his attention aren't on the camera or even on himself, it's on other people. He's constantly looking around, seeking validation from his peers, and nobody gives him the time of day. And I think that's a really poetic way of showing that no amount of money will make people like you. That's a bit of a blanket statement, because there's plenty of people who will only fuck with you if you have money. But the point that I'm really trying to drive home here is that money is not a substitute for personality. And money can buy the aesthetics, it can't buy authenticity. Money can make people briefly pay attention to you, but it'll never make someone admire you. And when you try to fill the void in your character with money, it's not going to improve who you are as a person. It's just going to put a spotlight on what was already there. Another good example is Elon Musk, one of the richest dudes in the world. That motherfucker is insufferable. Any attempt that he makes at humor falls flat. And it's because his wealth does not buy social grace, which is something that you kind of just have to learn. And I think that's all that I wanted to say.
Jesus Christ. Corey, what the fuck? Corey, this can't be happening. What the hell? What the fuck? I am at a loss for words. I'm struggling to articulate my sentences here. Holy shit. I just finished reading all 105 pages of Corey's ex-girlfriend coming forth about all the bad things that he's done to her over the years, and how he's like a manipulator, an abuser, a bad boyfriend. And I'll do my best to relay all the information as best I can if you don't want to go and read all 105 pages, although it's extremely short. It's not a long read, but basically, I'll put all the screenshots in this video. Most of them are Xbox messages. One of them is a screenshot from her Instagram of one of Corey's close friends viewing her story, and another one is him reacting to her telling him that she has cancer. But the thing is, this one is from iMessage, but it doesn't even show like Corey's name or anything. I struggle to believe this one a little bit. But here's the thing. All this information is still extremely fresh on my mind, so I'm really struggling to process everything that happened here. From the looks of it, Corey was an incredibly bad boyfriend and a very shitty person to be in a relationship with. Do I think this makes him this insane villain that needs to be fucking ran off the internet? I don't think so. At least from what I can gather. I could be completely wrong, and I'd be more than happy to eat my words. I'm leaning towards her side because I have read her story, and I read through her entire letter, and it seems like she's been through a lot. But I really can't formulate a concrete opinion until I hear both sides. I think this is going to go one of three ways. There's going to be three groups of people in this situation. Number one is diehard fans who will support him and defend him no matter what, and won't even bother to listen to what she has to say. Then there's the people in the middle who have either never watched him or are pretty impartial about him, and are now going to have a pretty negative impression of who he is as a person due to her letter and her story. And then there's the third group of people who just genuinely hated him since the beginning and are now going to use this as an excuse to add fuel to the flame and just run with it. And like say some shit like, oh, Corey was never good. I'm glad motherfuckers hate him. Or like, I never watched Corey. I always knew he was ass. But what group do I fall under? I'm in the middle. I never watched him growing up. I just know that a lot of people idolize this man. And I know a lot of people are definitely going to be not happy to hear these news. But like I said, I don't want to fully lean into her side until I at least can see both sides trying to make their best of what happened and explain everything. I'm pretty shocked though. I'm extremely shocked. And yeah, I'm recording this at 2 a.m. because this all happened extremely recently. But yo, Corey, you need to fucking respond to this shit, bro. Hello? Every generation, there emerges a certain archetype of man. Soft, slender, androgynous men, who modern culture refers to as femboys. Now, femboys exist in a liminal space between masculinity and femininity, desired and adored by many. But one thing rings true for all of them. Dread it, run from it, hide from it, it comes for all of them. And that is twink death. That is the inevitable moment where you are no longer a femboy, you are now just a grown man with facial hair. And this video will be dedicated to exploring that topic and really trying to pinpoint when exactly does this twink death occur. Usually, men are given a bit of a longer time period to age, but femboys are uniquely vulnerable in the sense that a lot of their appearance is tied to their youth.
And this youth is ever fleeting. It is not lasting. It is decaying. So what does this mean? At what age do we encounter twink death? My research points me to ages 25 to 28. When the femboy identity is built upon this admiration of youthfulness and femininity, it is extremely unstable, does not last very long. Many people will point to a popular figure known as Manasama, who is a femboy well into his 50s. I would like to remind you that he is an outlier. Outliers are data points, but they are not the blueprint for the majority. Yes, he can pull it off, but that does not mean everybody can. In fact, most people will never be able to do what he does, because he exists uniquely at the very, very top echelon of the femboy life cycle. But, as I have alluded to earlier, that will not happen for the majority of people. In the end, I've come to realize that femboys take one of two routes when facing twink death. They either transition, or they accept their fate. And that is the thesis of my video. Thank you for listening.